how to make graphs using either Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel itself. I know most of my students are using the Google Sheets for their spreadsheet, so that's where I'll start. As you can see, I've got some data for the coefficient of friction lab where we have the weight of our little friction boats as compared to the force of static friction reported from our equipment in the lab. And then I have 3 different sets of trials. So with this data, what I want to see is a graph that shows the normal force, which in this case is equivalent to the weight of an object on the x-axis and the force of static friction on the y-axis. To make a graph, you're going to go insert, not really a graph here, but a chart is what it's going to call it. And I noticed I didn't have any data selected. That's why these are all dark, because I didn't pick anything. Right now it's saying the whole sheet, and we're not using the whole sheet, but we'll get past that. So I'm going to pick Scatterplot. Oh, it wants me to pick data first, so that's fine. We'll pick data. Now, Excel and Sheets has a tendency to pick what it wants to graph. It would just kind of want to plop all this stuff in one graph, and it's just going to be this goofy thing that the lines aren't what we want. So I'm going to hit grab another range. This way I can define X and then Y. The top one will be X. I want weight on my X-axis. Weight's probably not the right title here, but you'll want to label that normal force doing this lab. And then I'm going to, on the Y-axis, select force of static friction. Pick my scatter plot. Okay. So I've got that right there. And now that I have it here, I'm going to edit. Click edit. Click edit. I want to edit. So now I'm coming into customizations. Down here in customizations, all the way to the bottom, trend line. I would like to see a linear trend line. See how trend line popped up? How nice. And look, as I hold my mouse over, it gives me the formula, which is highly important for this lab. But I'm going to scroll down just one little bit. And in labels, I want to label it with the equation. And now, if I hit update, look, I've got the y equals mx plus b slope-intercept equation. For this one, this trial that I did, my slope is 0.22, which is significant because that's my coefficient of friction, which is absolutely the true thing. So that gives me my coefficient of friction. Now we're going to make this a little bit bigger so I can drag this off to the side, and then we want to look at doing another graph. Now, if I'm using Google Sheets, I don't really want to add, let's try to add here, advanced editing. I don't really want to add another line to it. I mean, you probably can, but I really don't want to do that. So I'm going to leave this one alone, hit update, and I'm just going to make another graph, which is no big deal. You follow the exact same steps over and over again. Instead of adding another line to it, you'll have 3 individual graphs. Of course, you'll want to label your axes and your title, and you'll have these slopes. That's important. Let's look at Microsoft Excel, and if you find that Excel looks a little more appealing to do the graphs, I have the exact same data here. Oh, there we go. Exact same data. And the reason I like Excel here is because, well, that's not what I wanted to do, but whatever. The reason I like Excel is because I can put all 3 lines on one graph, and let's see how. We're going to do the same idea, insert, and we're going to put ourselves a graph. In this case, I can pick my scatter plot right off my options. And even if your options don't look exactly like this, you want a scatter plot. Scatterplot, just pick the one with dots because it gives you an opportunity to then define your data later. Notice that it is a completely blank graph because I had nothing selected. So I'm going to go select data. I'm going to have to add. Now here's where I like how Excel does this. Series name, I'm going to click on felt. Just felt. X value. As we said earlier, we want the weight. Y value. I'm going to click on my friction and hit OK. Now take a peek. Look, really pretty line, right? Alright, well before I go and work with that one, I'm going to add cork, X value, weight, Y value, friction. Okay, see how I have an error because this little 1 plus deal? Get rid of all that, highlight, just that, and see, now it's happy. Hit OK, look, I got another, did you see my orange line? How pretty is that? And then add my third one, high density polyethylene. Put weight for the X. Put friction for the Y. Oh, just let me do it. See this 1 plus garbage? Get rid of this 1 plus garbage here. Okay. And okay. And now, and see the gray line? See my gray line? Now what we want to do is we want to go to Chart Tools. We want to format our chart. And here, maybe format's the wrong button. Design. Chart type, chart location, chart style, chart elements, chart elements. Trend lines. Can I hit Control? Nope. I'm going to do it one time. No big deal. Trend line for felt. And then I'm going to click on trend line for felt. And then I want a linear trend line for cork. And trend line, I want a linear trend line for high density polyethylene. Okay. And then it's giving me more options here. More options. Add a trend line based on series felt. Okay. Ah, here's my more options. This is what I really want. Show my equation. And then, no, don't do that. Trend line. More options. Scroll down. Show the equation. And then here. Trend line. Oh no, I turned them all off. Well, you get the idea. Add a trend line. Add your trend line. Show more options. Show the equation. And you want to do that as you go. Alright? Enjoy.